Hey there, welcome to SQSR. Today we're going to answer, how did we get children as the plural of child? The question sounds simple, so let's take a look at the response. As a kid, I learned, or maybe just made up, that it comes from German, but that isn't quite right. The German word for child is Kind, and its normal plural is Kinder. The dative plural of kind is Kindern, but that's ERN, not REN. The pluralization of children in English certainly feels unique, but is it actually? Well, Merriam-Webster lists only 38 words that end in REN, only 7 of which it calls common. But 38's a fairly small number, so let's just look at the whole list. Brainchildren, godchildren, grandchildren, schoolchildren, and stepchildren are all just compound words ending in children, so we can ignore those. Down to 33. Boyren isn't actually in Merriam-Webster's dictionary. It's only on the list because Williams-Boyren syndrome is in the dictionary. So Boyren's just a quick lookup based on someone's name. Depoitren, Holmgren, Oren, Zjogren, and Westergren are similar. Leaves 27, and apologies if I mispronounce someone's name. But while we're kicking out names, Yatron is a former brand name for a chemical called something like Kineophon. 26. The words Antrin, Baron, Barin, Beverin, Gerin, Karin, lepidosiren, Nichiren, Perin, Frin, Siren, and Ren are all singular nouns. 14 to go. Bren is a dialectical alternative spelling for burn. Kithrin for Kithern, which itself is an alternative of Kittern. Florin with an E for Florin with an I, and Siren with a Y for Siren with an E. 10. Karen isn't just a given name, it's also a demonym for a culture in modern Myanmar. It's singular and its own plural, but not a plural ending in REN. Well, I mean, it's not a REN plural. 9. Warren stands out a bit. It is singular, but looking at the history of the word, you could believe it was the plural of an old meaning of war. But etymologists trace it through an old High German verb vaden, just meaning forbid. So the older meaning of game park for Warren just comes from calling the land forbidden. So not a plural. 8 more. Heron is an adjective, not a noun. It apparently means made of hair. As in, my heron necklace is so much less cool than your golden one. 7. Embarrass is a verb. It means to make someone or something barren. That leaves 6, but hey, all 6 are plural nouns. Schlieren is a loanword from German into geology and optics. Its singular is Schlera, so it's not an REN plural. 5 candidates remain. Heron and Lurin are both EN plurals, that is, their singulars are hair with 2 R's and lur, respectively. That leaves us with what often get listed as the 3 REN plurals: brethren, children, and sistren. But the singular of brethren isn't breath, it's brother, so the R is already part of the singular. I find this plural fascinating because it has both the vowel shift that's called umlaut in German, similar to what we still have in goose becomes geese, but also gains a plural suffix. Modern German has a singular of brother as Bruder, and the plural is Bruder. So, at least by similarity to modern High German grammar, brethren is sort of a double plural. Sistren these days is just for parallel with brethren, but it was more common in the past. It's formed just by sister plus en, but then dropping the first e to cut a 3-syllable word down to 2. And yes, that same e was deleted in brethren, though Wiktionary, as of today, lists bretherin as an obsolete spelling of brethren, but has no such entry for sisterin. Sorry, gals. So, children is actually unique. And where you get uniqueness, you should expect a mistake. In this case, back in Old English, we had the word child with the plural of chaldwu. That's where we get the R sound. In Middle English, that changed from RU to RE, and spelling rules changed, so C became CH. So childra, though an ER variant also popped up, childer. Etymological insight gets, let's say, murky around this time, but before we're through with Middle English, we find some regions adopting childer as the singular, and perhaps it was they who stuck on the en suffix that had just started being a plural in Middle English. The suffix en had existed before that, but not as a plural. One use of it was as a diminutive suffix, which turned the word koch, meaning rooster, into hichchen, meaning chick. And hichchen eventually became chicken, and then we had to rip the suffix back off to make the baby word chick. Sometimes etymology is weird. Right. So now Middle English has children, and as with sisterin, we just pop a letter out and make it easier to say. But linguistically, childerin or childrayen both are childses. Double pluralization is a thing kids do a lot, so it falls under a class of linguistic behaviors called infantilizations. Do you think that someone smart noticed this at the time, but decided that it was super funny and appropriate to use an infantilization when referring to the plural of juvenile humans, and rather than try to squash it out, they just fostered it? The world may never know. Modern English tends to put the stress on the second syllable of a word, so even if it used to be pronounced children, it eventually became children and moved the syllable break back one letter so it could replace the relatively difficult LD sound with a much easier DR sound, making for our modern children. But the syllable break could have moved before the stress moved. So there you have it. Children is a unique plural in the English language. It is formed by combining two different plural suffixes on the word child back during Middle English. To my allegedly great, etc. granduncle, Geoffrey Chaucer, that should have sounded a bit like toeses sounds to us today. See you next time for another simple question and simple response.